Hi. Last week I had someone leave a comment on my blog asking about you know, a one-shot adventure I would recommend for someone just getting started in solo play. And my initial reaction was my normal reaction saying, that running adventures, published adventures is actually, you know, it's more difficult than just doing kind of an open sandbox play because not only have you got to deal with all the solo stuff and your rule system, but you really don't want to break the adventure you're playing as well. But then over the weekend, I had to think about this, and I had a chance to grab this adventure. But it's by T M van Dalen. It's available on the Dungeon Masters Guild, um, and it's Trouble in Wealdham. And what I like about this adventure, well, there's lots of things I like about this adventure, but first up, it's available as PDF and as a Fantasy Grounds module. Now, if you're going to play a module, playing it in any virtual tabletop is that, or any tabletop that actually automates some of the rules for you is much easier. So I do like that. So I've got Fantasy Ground here, and let's just clean that up for a second. So in my library, there's Trouble in Wealdham, and if I click that, it, everything that's all the component parts of the adventure are already in. So if I was to go to story, there you go. There's all the elements that I need. But also, if I go to images, images, here you go. Um, there is all the maps, even sort of there's the DM map, which I would always use the DM map, not the player map, for solo play. And you have to trust yourself. But there's also kind of monster maps and things. So uh, there's the little map of the village, and I can click any of these, and it will bring up element. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. So it's all really, really nicely sort of packaged for you. But there's some other standout elements of this adventure. Now, what I've told people to do, I'm a big fan of post-it notes or sticky notes, and I would normally tell you to read through your adventure, look at the key elements of it, and create a post-it note for them, and like a flow diagram that you can rearrange if you need to. So if you go completely off piste, you can just move something that has to happen back into your own path. But Tim Van Dalen, he does in the adventures is give you an adventure flow. Now this one is this a beginning adventure, and so it's fairly linear, which is perfect for a first adventure. Um, Now what we've got is the flow. Now, if you had the night in the woods and you're just playing it and you're just freestyling, and you decide that because your character might be a druid or a ranger or whatever, that you don't want to go into the town, you can actually just put the farm back into your character's path and completely miss that step out, and you aren't going to break the adventure. If you didn't go near the farm, you just have to make sure that you end up at the crypt, so then you can complete the adventure. So it's like having someone already go through the adventure for you and work out the critical moments that you actually have to hit to complete the adventure. Now, something else, another plus here is if they haven't, if TM Dallin hasn't given you a map, a battle map for Fantasy Grounds in my case, then there's other stuff which is all purely theatre of the mind. So you don't need a map, which is perfect for solo play. So you can just look at the encounter in terms of you and what you're facing, and just imagine your own scenery for it. So and you're in terrain, and you do it all through the Oracle. So Theatre of the Mind and Solar Plate works perfectly because you can't go, you know, it, you you can't do anything wrong if you're responsible for creating it all. So let's just hop back to Fancy Grounds again. So one of the nice things about running solo adventures in Fancy Grounds is that you can. So let's start at chapter one, Night in the Woods. So what you get is it estimated that this is going to take 15 to 30 minutes. That's just for the group, for a GM running it. But for you, you can spend as long as you like in here, and you've got some box text which you would just read, and so you can go through there. Now there's some letters. It's mentioned the letters, and Fancy Grounds links directly to the letters, and there is what the letter actually says, and it also explains about there is so yeah, hand the player the letters from Appendix B. So here you go. Here are the letters. So you've got the letters, and it also mentions they're given a bag. And if you click on this, it comes up with there is the bag, and you can just drag and drop that straight onto your character, and it adds it to the inventory and deals with all the encumbrance and everything. Um, so then you you read through that, you can imagine your character. Now I've got a lone character, it's a first level thief, and so it goes all about the watches, but my character isn't going to set a watch because he is on his own. And so down here, and it goes, there is a little section about if the characters don't set a watch, what will happen. And it says when they wake up in the next morning, one of the characters will find a small bone next to the campfire. And the details of the bone were up here. Right, so I need to make a DC 12 intelligence check. So I will bring up my character and I will make the check. So it's DC 12 intelligence or investigation. There we go, investigation. So I roll that. Do I roll more than 12? Yes, I do. So now I will read what it actually is. And it's a very old, but seems to have not been here very long. So it's an ancient piece of bone, but on the surface. And so I can, what do I know anything about that? It means nothing. Would I take it? Probably not. So my character's not carrying it. I don't add it to the inventory. I can play through the rest of this. Now I didn't meet the Will o' the Wisp, so I don't have to worry about the encounter. And so I can close that. I can close that and I can then move on. Would I carry on going to Wealdham? Well, yes, I would because my character is fairly urban, so I can just bring this one up, and so now it's taking me to the map. So it rather than me having to go and flick through the PDF looking for the right place, I can everything's just coming up for me, which makes it very easy. My box text is here. Or there is the player's map just doesn't have the pins on it. Let's just have a look at it actually. Let's see what they get. So there's no numbers for the buildings, but it does have the pins. I didn't expect that. I just so it's not numbered. But anyway, um, that having numbered buildings doesn't spoil the immersion at all. Um, and so I can read the box text and carry on. Now, there's one bit I wanted to show you in here, which is another reason, it's another standout part of the. Uh, Now, I'm going to. Right, so it's the entrance chamber in the tomb. That ancient piece of bone comes from the tomb, obviously. There's the box text here. There's the encounter. It's meant to be 6 skeletons, but the writer has already adjusted the encounter. Now, because I've only got one first level character, I would use the very weak. And when I click this, here you go, it's already there. And if I click that, it will automatically add the uh, skeletons to the combat tracker for me. And these are already placed on the map when if I was to bring up the map. So it's all ready to go. Um, Now, the NPCs I would control through the Oracle. Now, I have got my where's tables in here. Oops. Um, there's I didn't add it. There should I would I've got my Oracle as a module that is, or maybe I can already is my Oracle in here? No, I didn't load it before bringing it up, but I have a 5e Oracle which runs as a set of tables. So I could you know, just run everything through the Oracle. If I wanted to know whether the NPCs behave as I'd expect, I can roll the Oracle. So all the NPCs are controlled that way. And if I, you know, if I decide to go to the little trade post, I can just click up here and it even links to the tables and everything. So nearly everything runs off the Oracle, but T M van Dalen, when he created this, has made it already scalable and it. Although that initial adventure flow looks really kind of linear, it doesn't have to be because I can jump about wherever I want. The numbers down here give me the chapters and the sections, but I can, um, if let's say for argument's sake, I found some scroll of pass wall or portal or whatever it is. I've gone I think it's pass wall in 5e, and I didn't go through the boulder. I went straight into the corridor. I can actually skip the boulder and go straight to the corridor and start to read along here. And I'm skim read, and I can see there's a dexterity check, and you just skim read looking for DC, and then as soon as it's you know there's something there, and what is the encounter? What does it tell me here? It's a collapsing roof trap. There you go. And you know, if I bring that onto there, the collapsing roof trap, it will tell me the damage. It's um, you know, all the things in here and everything here. All the details are in there, and you know, there's the damage. If I was to walk into that, oops, actually I should have. I can drag and drop that straight onto Saren, and it'll probably kill him. Um, yep. So he's unconscious. If I had walked straight into it. Um, so it's very, very easy to hop about. You are not constrained to how the writer imagined it was going to be run. You've got the complete freedom, as you would with a human GM, to solo play it. You can jump around as you like. The box text is there as it would be in the book, but there's just because I'm looking at entrance hall here doesn't mean I can also see other stuff because it is all compartmentalized down. And if I was to back off and go back up to the previous room, I just hit the previous arrow, and it's going to take me back to the entrance area. So I can just skip forward, um, and everything's hyperlinked. It makes it much easier uh, to use a published adventure if it has all been sort of compartmentalized and automated like this. So it saves an awful lot of flicking through rule books and that sort of thing. So if you wanted to, if you're fairly new to solo or you just haven't run modules before, I would seriously recommend looking for ones which come with virtual tabletop modules, and I particularly recommend at the moment the T M van Dalen. There's a handful of adventures out there, and I'm sure you can find others. Just look for ones which have the virtual tabletop element to them, and yeah, so that's it. That's my recommendation of the moment. Um, I'm always evolving my play. I'm just scrolling through the PDF here so you can just see it. It's very nicely presented. Those are the skeletons you would meet uh, uh, in the crypt. Oh, that's the here you go. That would be part three there. So you can work off the paper, but the minute you work off the paper, you have these problems here where you encounter the bag of one-way holding right at the beginning, but you suddenly already know that there's an orb of raising undead, and which actually that to be fair, that's explained right at the beginning, which is kind of a pity. That's one of the few things I would have moved. Um, right at the top here for the game master, he does explain about the necromancer and the orb and all that sort of thing. There you go, the orb of raising undead. Um, it would have been nice if that has been revealed later. But yeah, there you go. If you want to have a go at running a module, look for one with VTT. Okay, so yeah, thank you for watching.